The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Monday, the 2nd day of August, 2021. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House One Communications and Lindos. I'm Jamel Hartman, along with Mikaela, Ian, and of course, Leanna Lambert will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break. Kels.
Hey.
Nice long holiday weekend. How was it, and how are you?
I feel well rested today, and the only reason I feel well rested is because I did nothing yesterday. Nothing. Okay? Because I was like, listen, I need to show up fresh at 8 a.m. and not look like,
Well, I'm the professional buster. I got to take it back from Leanna, but I know somebody who didn't get a little day of rest yesterday. I ain't talking about myself. Lee, we'll bring you in a bit later, tell you how your weekend was. But no, I was so happy for all of you. I saw you guys done a professional, great job during court match. Leanna and you, I was a proud big brother. Love seeing it. What's crazy is my father called me. Yeah, Leanna, Mikaela just passed it back to Leanna, and I'm just like, that's my sisters right there. That's my honesty. It was such a joy seeing you guys doing what you love to do. Hosting court match, speaking to so many different Bermudians, including our friend. I'm going to call him our friend, the premier. He likes you. Probably doesn't like
listen, the premier was very hospitable to me. Thank you very much, Premier Bert. I was in his camp for both days of cup match, had a great old time. So big shout out to Premier Bert and Owen Darrow today. I had a great time. Yes.
I would have asked them pour me a drink, then poured it out. But no, great to hear that you had a great weekend. I'm a little dark. The lighting's not great, so I'm not going to tell everyone where I am. I'll let you guys guess. But this is the first time I'm doing a show outside, and so I'm probably going to try to do the same in Bermuda. Obviously, I'm not the most technical to the camera and so on. So this is actually, that's the water. What's those things called? The sprinklers going off, if you hear that, and planes going over. You can guess where I am. I'm in the same location that President Barack Obama will be celebrating his birthday with his friends, Oprah, and all those people that I don't hang around. So that's where I am this week. So good morning, everyone, and thanks for making this part of your daily routine. Big congrats to Somerset Cricket Club on an extremely convincing victory over St. George's Cricket Club, beating them by 10 wickets. It's tough.
Listen, it was rough. So as we've discussed, I am a cup match girl. I'm at the game before first ball both days. Mind you, the second day was rough because it was 9 a.m. That was like a little early, regardless. So I'm there all day first day, bumping to Jordan De Silva. He's running his mouth. I'm like, oh, this is what we're doing. He's like, well, you lot ran your mouth on Tuesday. I'm like, all right, cool. Friday night, even worse. I'm like, all right, Jordan, you better come back so we can hear what you got to say on the show.
Well, hey, look, hopefully he comes by. Hopefully, I mean, if I were him, I'd probably be so tired from celebrating. But honestly, awesome guy. Really well-deserved victory for them. We have some rude people in the audience.
Jesus.
She's saying happy Somerset morning to my co-host. David Michael R. Wilson is on St. George's fans had nothing to do but rest.
Oh, wow.
We have a Marlon Brown is in the audience. He's saying Somerset all day singing it. Don't cry. Well, look, honestly, It's hard. It's hard as a St. George's fan these years. But I'm gonna tell you this here: nothing lasts forever.
Nope.
And the good times will return. But definitely a big congrats. Now we're gonna give away some stuff today. We were supposed to have a guest, Mr. Original Live Wires. He is a no-show. So like Mikaela and I do, and which you all enjoy, we're gonna have a conversation anyway. So, but first part of this show, before we the news break, we're gonna just ask everyone, how was your weekend? Like, how was your cup match weekend? Like, what did you do? Did you go to the game? Did you go on a boat this weekend? What did you do? And I'll tell you what I did. But Kales, from start to finish, what did you do?
Sure. So my son's birthday was Wednesday, as we talked about last week. So we went to Whitehorse for dinner on Wednesday. I like to do early nights the night before because I like to be fresh, ready to roll. So Thursday, I went down to the field. I think I got there maybe 10 minutes to 10. Watched first bowl. I did a lot of video stuff. Hung around all day, thoroughly enjoyed myself. Friday, back at the field by 9 a.m. I was a little moody, I'll be honest. I was in your people's camp, Lord.
Yeah.
But Friday was so much fun. The weather was beautiful. I got a lot of flack because Thursday I wore blue and white. And then Friday I had on like this pastel color tie-dye dress. All these other fans are like, oh, that looks like Somerset. I'm like, in what world?
Well,
in what
Kales, well, Kales, you know, I've been put in that same situation. People will say I'm trading teams for wearing neutral colors and da-da-da. You know, look, Somerset fans, you're winning right now. Stop trying to bring us over to your team. It's okay. It's okay.
Exactly. I ain't never going over. So Friday was a lot of fun because I got to talk to so many people. There were a lot of people who came up to me who watched the show. So thank you guys. Esther Harvey gave me a wonderful swizzle. So it was just really nice going around and talking to people. I was in a bunch of different camps doing interviews. And then that was Friday. Saturday, went to Bacchanal Run. Oh my God. That was like, and that's where I saw Lee, which we'll talk about in a second. But honestly, that event, I felt like that was the first proper party I've been to in a year and a half, maybe more. And it was exactly what I needed. Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, I went to the evening one, by the way, not 3 a.m. No.
Yeah, I see Danica Butterfield saying Bacchanal Run, the 3 a.m. edition was a blast. Saw videos from the evening edition and it looked a blast too. First off, I don't know what you did on Friday where you had the energy or the life to get up at 3 a.m. and go Bacchanal Run, but props and credit to you all.
Well, this is the thing. I think people were already turned because I knew there were boats. So I had heard people were going out on boats until 1 o'clock and then going out to drink and then going to Bacchanal Run. So I think the people who showed up at Bacchanal Run at 3 a.m., they were already they were already here. They were already lit. They were already turned up.
Wow. Well, you know what? It sounds like you had quite a weekend where you needed to rest yesterday, Kale.
Yes,
and don't worry about these. Don't worry about the folks in the audience taking cheap shots like, oh, of course she had to rest because St. George's lost all that. I'm going to tell you this. This was the second time I've missed cup match in the last decade. Last time was 2018 when I couldn't travel. And then obviously this year, just other things going on, COVID and so on, and it just making it a bit difficult. But I will say, I missed everything about cup, especially with yourself, Leanna, all you guys sending pictures from my camp. And I was just like, man, I was so happy to see you all having fun, but I was like, I should be there. I should be a part of this.
You should have been there. Honestly, cup match was exactly what I needed. And I actually like the first day, there weren't a lot of people, right? But I actually liked it. And even the Friday, there were more people, but it wasn't as full as normal. But I loved it. I just felt like, thank you to St. Louis Cricket Club for pulling it off. Thank you to the government for whatever they did to make everything happen. Thank you to the sponsors. But honestly, the process was so seamless. It's never taken me that little bit of time to get into cup match, even with checking my safe key, checking my ID, scanning my ticket on my phone. Seamless. So shout out to the folks who own G-Pass as well, because it was wonderful.
They ain't paying for sponsorship and ain't shouting them up. But no, seriously, I think that may be onto something. Because and obviously, folks, I work at an arena for a professional sports team, and I think one of the things they've done over the last couple of years is they've actually moved towards no more hard paper tickets, right? It's everything electronic. Now, this has caused a lot of issues, like almost sometimes daily. But some older folks, and not even just older, some people who just don't have smartphones, right? Have issues with this, and they feel discriminated against. But the way the world is moving, especially with COVID, is a precursor. It's almost a thing where this is the start of changes that some places should have made ages ago. And it's actually going to make it easier for us in many ways. You're in control of things versus the old. Now, one of the biggest complaints, and it's interesting to me that I get is, well, I'm old school. I like to have a hard ticket that I can save and probably auction off years later. Like, I have people that say that to me. But look, it's all about making the process. Kales, look, some people still collect stamps. I mean,
see, I hold on to nothing. I throw out everything. Like, if my diploma wasn't in a frame, it probably would be in the trash because it's not that serious. Right? It's not that serious. But seriously, being like, even when I was talking to the women who were at the door running, well, not running everything, but making sure everything was running, they were like, this is incredible. We haven't had to touch money. We haven't had to touch anything. Like, everybody comes, they have everything ready. And it was perfect, honestly.
Yeah, this is wonderful to hear, though. Honestly, I am so happy to hear that it turned out to be great. Kathy Bromby letting us know that she listened to the game on the radio at home. It was a great win for Somerset. Well, Kathy, you had me up until it was a great win for Somerset.
I know.
I actually, Kathy Bromby, I got something for you, and I hate to do this because you're a Somerset fan, but the question of the weekend was, how well do we know the guest as usual? And it was, which of the following hosts is both a St. George's Cup match fan and resident, right? And so it was A, Leanna. Nope, Lee doesn't live in St. George's. B, Larry. Nope, Larry doesn't live in St. George's. Or C, Mikaela. Maybe she does live in St. George's. Or D, none of the above. And the answer was C. And Kathy Bromby, you are this weekend's winner. So you please send an email. Yes, give Kathy Bromby some love. Kathy, send an email to engage@thedailyhour.com so that you can collect your winnings. So Kales, everyone got it right. They're going to be on your doorstep.
It's funny because I saw it on Facebook and I commented. I was like, y'all really listen. Y'all know me. All right.
And I want to say, I said to you all, if you see the ladies over the holiday, be very nice to them. So I'm happy to hear Mikaela say earlier you were treating her to drinks and you were coming up to them. And I can't say this enough. And I said it before we came live, right? Although I wish I could have been there, I was so happy and excited to see Mikaela and Leanna not just working, but having fun, and Jackie, everyone just enjoying their holiday because they work so hard. This is not easy. I know some people think, oh, they just go live. No, Leanna's probably backstage reading her news, making sure she's got it right. It takes time. Like, you might see her only for 3 minutes reading the news, but it probably takes about an hour to put it together, folks. And that's Mikaela and I, to just doing this setup outside here took me an hour this morning. Let me tell you real quick before we bring Leanna in. So I'll let you all guess where I am, so for a chance to win something today. But so we traveled yesterday. Why my wife decided to get us on an early flight on a Sunday. I would never know, but up for something. Uber canceled. So thankfully, if you don't have it, folks, get what's it called? Global entry. Because had we not had global entry, we got our flight was leaving at 7:15. We got to the airport 6:30 or 6:40, right? Luckily, we had the global entry. Now, the second problem, her and her mom went through. I said I'll stay because someone's bag was too heavy. It's always a wife. Bag's going to be too heavy, right? And so I had to stay by and pay for this bag. And long story short, I'm sweating by the time I got on the aircraft. I say all that because it was quite an adventure, and somebody already guessed where I am. So we'll definitely give Carla
because you gave a big hint.
Barack Obama's birthday celebration. Yeah. My wife's saying TSA pre-check saved the day. Yes, it did. Global entry is a must. But I say that because, folks, Bermudians can get global entry, I believe, if they have a British passport.
Yes, it's only if we have a British passport.
Honest, get it. It's worth it, especially if you travel through places like Miami, where immigration and customs can be a challenge. Get global entry. Obviously, I'm out here with the mosquitoes, so I am in Martha's Vineyard, folks, for the week. Your President Obama actually probably plays golf across the street over there, I believe. So if I bump into him, I'll tell you all. He said, "You all said what's up from Bermuda." But no, so we are in Martha's Vineyard for the week, and so quick story about my jog this morning. So I have to do some form of exercise before I come on air because I don't know if I'm going to be grumpier or not, right? So I don't know this place. It's dark. It's a bunch of woods and trees. There's another mosquito. And so I went out, and in Florida, we don't see deer and, it's just different kinds of animal. So these deer were just staring at me. I'm like, trying to think in my head. I've lived in New England for years. I've lived in the Northeast. Deer don't attack. So let me just think, they don't attack. But man, when I came back to finish my mile off this morning, they came rushing across the street, like sprinting. And I'm like, whew, because they don't stop when they're running. They'll run into a car, remember?
Yeah.
So that was my experience this morning. So I'm having second thoughts about my jog tomorrow morning. I'm really reconsidering. I'm thinking maybe do something different. Maybe do some jumping jacks out on.
Maybe because I don't mess with wildlife. All those years I lived in Massachusetts, nope, not about it.
No, I'm with you, Kales. I'm with you. Rashida Godwin says, not with a Bermuda passport. No,
no.
At this time, no. I don't even have a Bermuda passport anymore. Sherilyn Russell, Mikaela.
Good morning. Beach was great too. Johnston's Bay, not too crowded. Family food and swimming. The water's relaxing and beautiful. Wonderful. Sounds like you had a good one.
Yeah, I like a little John Smith's Bay. Sean Smith says, companies that provide these apps to make our lives simpler should create video instruction for seniors. My grandmother and her friend ran into some challenges trying to retrieve their tickets on their phone. Talking about G-Pass. And honestly, Sean, I do get those challenges almost on a, I'm going to say weekly, but sometimes daily basis with people that just haven't, look, we're all going to grow older. And as we grow older, new technology is going to come and we are going to have challenges. So I think there definitely probably should be some assistance for people who have challenges with technology. Victor Rose is saying, get some internet out the back. Well, we have them somewhere, but setting up this morning, it was just so much. Like I'll send some video and pictures of what the entire setup looks like, folks, but I don't have a producer, so it was a challenge. But thank you, Faith Rosa Gilks. Carla John says, Martha's Vineyard is the place to see and be seen. Do they still have a big def? This is sort of my second time here. I'm not quite, Mikaela probably knows more about Martha's Vineyard than me.
I actually haven't been since I was a teenager because honestly, summertime, it was like go to Martha's Vineyard or come back to Bermuda. And obviously I chose come back to Bermuda. So I haven't been, but I do want to go. And actually, didn't we discuss that I'm coming next year? I did, right?
Did? Yeah. Been there with me. We tried. But let's bring Lee into the convo because I know she had a great weekend as well. And let's hope. I'm just thankful today isn't her day of rest. Lee, what's up, sister? How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. Apologies for the lack of. I feel like I've been talking for like days straight.
Same, girl. Same, Lord.
Oh my gosh! But it was fantabulous. Can I use that word today?
Yes,
absolutely. I love it. So obviously you and Mikaela did some hosting during Cup match. Again, you and Mikaela were up in my camp, sending video, making me jealous.
Yes, we were.
Yep. You all had a blast. But unlike Mikaela, you didn't get a day of rest, did you?
No, I didn't. So what people don't know is my day actually starts at 4 a.m. both days of Cup match because, to put the whole look together, you've got to get up early. So from 4 a.m. I'm up. I've got a 6 a.m. makeup appointment and like the day literally begins for me like that. And it was just, I don't know, preparing for those 2 days, it takes a lot of work. But I had a blast being down there on the grounds because I honestly wasn't feeling the Cup match spirit this year for some reason.
Me neither.
It was different. Like, I don't know. It was a little bit on and off for me.
Yeah.
But once I actually got to the ground
Yes.
and like Mikaela, that process was so smooth. Like, I actually did not drive this year, thank God. I think that was the best decision I ever made. And to get out of the taxi and just walk straight in. It was like, here's the safe key. You've already got your media pass. Go in. It was effortless. And I kudos to the St. George's Cricket Club for pulling that off this year.
Yeah.
It was wow. It
Yeah.
was wow.
And I'm actually they follow us on the Daily Hour on Instagram like everyone else who watches this show short. But GPass, I am happy. I don't know who owns it or runs it, but I'm happy to see a new company.
Yeah, it's owned by Pink Sand Entertainment.
Okay, perfect. I'm happy to see new companies like getting these opportunities for Bermuda's biggest two-day event. So props to them. Like I said, it's the way the world's moving, and I'm glad that from what it seems, they made the process easier. Leanna, I'm gonna tell you, like I told Kales, don't worry about comments like this from David Michael R. Wilson. Leanna suffered a great loss, like every other.
Wow.
Violence.
Listen, it was no loss. It was no loss. We had a great time. It was everything that I needed it to be, plus less people. So it was even better, as far as I'm concerned.
Love to hear it. Love to hear it. But Lee, let's get over to the news. When we come back, folks, we're gonna have one of those conversations, Mikaela and I, and we just want to ask you. We see so much pride in Bermudians and Bermuda during the Cup Match weekend, Emancipation Day, Prince Day. What can we do to keep that level of pride going year round? So stick with us. We definitely want to have a conversation with you, the audience, as to what can be done to keep that energy, that pride, that love of country and island going high year round. Lee, over to you, my good sister, and welcome back after I'm not even going to say a vacation break, after a long weekend of work.
Exactly.
Over to you.
Thanks, Jamel and Mikaela, and good morning to everyone that's tuned in with us this morning. I hope everyone enjoyed their Cup Match holiday weekend just as much as myself and Mikaela. Excuse the lack of voice. You could tell that I had a good one, but I hope everyone's having a great start to their morning. I'm Leanna Lambert, and it's time for our Daily Hour news break. Now, the island celebrated the return of our beloved Cup Match holiday weekend in various ways, with many attending the annual cricket match at the St. George's Cricket Club. While some camped out, others watched the match on TV and online, and quite a few people made their way to the beach to enjoy their day. Now, police thanked both the island's cricket clubs for an incident-free classic held over the Thursday and Friday at the Wellington Oval. President Neil Painter was thanked along with his management team for a well-managed event despite the challenges posed by COVID-19 containment measures. Now, there were no incidents requiring police involvement at the grounds, and Acting Police Commissioner Darren Simons thanked the spectators for their cooperation during the two-day event. In other news, a man has been arrested and a firearm seized by police after a motorcycle rider was stopped during the Somerset Cricket Club's celebratory motorcade yesterday evening. Now, a police spokesperson said that officers were controlling traffic at about 6 p.m. as the motorcade made its way at St. George's Cricket Club when they noticed that the rider was driving in an erratic way on Wellington Slip Road. Now, the man was stopped and issued with moving violation tickets. The spokesperson said that he then violently resisted arrest after officers attempted to detain him for an outstanding warrant. Officers are said to have to use tasers on the rider during the struggle, and a search uncovered a firearm in his possession. Now, the weapon was taken for examination and the man was taken into custody. The incident was recorded by bystanders on mobile phones, and police have appealed for witnesses to come forward and provide any footage obtained. And Bermuda's active cases of COVID-19 have climbed to 36, it was revealed yesterday, but none are thankfully in hospital. The update came yesterday morning after a further 15 people tested positive for the coronavirus out of the 8,031 latest test results from Monday through Wednesday. Now, the number of active cases is the highest since May 26. 7 out of those new cases are classified as local transmission with known contacts, and 2 are under investigation, bringing the total of number of cases under investigation to 6. Now, the other 6 cases came from overseas. For today's weather, we have a high near 86 and a low near 79 degrees. It will be mostly sunny after a possible early shower or two. Ridging associated with the Bermuda Azores high maintains its dominance to the start of the week. Aside from the odd pre-dawn or afternoon shower, it promises to remain dry and sunny with a light to moderate breeze. Hot and humid summer temperatures continue to prevail. That's all for our daily hour news break. Let's head back to Jamel and Mikaela in the studio for today's Daily Focus.
All right. Thanks so much, Lee. So crazy weekend there. But while you were reading the news, I got some assistance here. So if a fire breaks out while we're on air, it's because the Citronello got Kendall on my feet, and I got some spray all over me, right? So I'm not going to be knocking over equipment while we're flying. Thank you so much for that, Lee.
You're so welcome.
I got some rest in between work at some point today, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.
Definitely, guys. Have a great one.
As well.
Bye, Lee.
Bye, guys.
All righty. We're going to take a quick break. Do not go anywhere. Today's question, folks, how can we maintain this sense of pride, Bermuda, year round? You see it during Cop Match, Emancipation, Mary Prince. Everyone's all about history and celebrating one another. But we need to find a way to keep this going year round. Want to hear from you. We'll be right back to discuss.
Mom's celebrating her 70th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dandy Town Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
We're welcoming back the often featured Whole Food veterans Bragg Live Food products, renowned for their live probiotic organic raw cider vinegar and savory seasonings. Paul Bragg is the man behind the products and has originated health food stores, restaurants, and spas, and promoted nutrition education through the media, helping lay the foundation for the enlightened way we make healthful choices when we shop for and prepare food. This month we're featuring Bragg Organic Raw and Unfiltered Apple Cider Vinegar and Organic Extra Virgin Olive Oil. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
All right, welcome back to the big show. She's Mikaela and I'm Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House One Communications, Lindo's, and our friends over at Channel 82, where you can stream this and many other locally produced shows. Look, Mikaela, one of the things I enjoy about Cop Match, despite being a bit jealous that I could not be there in Bermuda this year celebrating with you all, is a sense of pride that so many Bermudians take. Even just people excited that they can explain what cricket is to Bermudian, like the sense of pride that they can take in sharing. Like last week, we had everyone in the studio speaking about how they became a St. George's or a Somerset fan. Some born into it like yourself, others decided based on, other factors. But the question for today, I guess, is how can we keep the Bermudian pride and energy high year round? What are your thoughts on that?
And that's the thing. So BTA had a large camp and there were a lot of visitors in it. And I went in there. Celebrity chef Eric Ajapong was here, and this was his first time in Bermuda for Cop Match. And so to hear him being so excited to witness Bermuda, I mean, he said, any time is a good time to visit Bermuda, but he saw island pride at its best. And he was talking about how absolutely incredible it was. And even like when I was in the camp, the tourists who were in there were learning about the history of Cop Match and all of that. So I thought that was wonderful. But I will say one of the things that I appreciated, every person that I spoke to, we talked about emancipation. We talked about Mary Prince and the significance of the fact that Bermuda is the only country in the entire world that has a holiday named for a Black woman. The only country. So for me, I just feel like, yes, we're divided in terms of Somerset St. George's. However, that Bermudian pride and what we are celebrating must be year round. It must be year round. And for me, I think I approach it a little bit differently because I left Bermuda at 12. And so I've always been very full of pride for my island because I've lived in a couple different places. And I am Bermudian. Here's what Bermuda is, not the triangle. Like, Bermuda is the thing that I love to talk about no matter where I am, no matter who I meet. So for me, that pride is just like, it's never going to go away, but I would like to see more people have that pride.
Yeah, indeed. And it's all about how do we install it in them. Our sister Sherry Vanderpool says monthly events would be good with an awesome theme. And Karen Edward Simmons seconds what she was going to say. I definitely, haven't spent as much time outside of Bermuda as probably in for my entire life. And, I think being away helps you appreciate it a lot more.
Absolutely.
How do we change that? How do we get Bermudians to appreciate it year round outside of just that time? Some of the things that you said that really clicked to me. One, Mary Prince being the only Black woman who has a holiday of any country in the world. That's huge. And Bermuda needs to celebrate that. We need to capitalize on it as part of our tourism product, as part of who we are and what defines us, right?
Yeah.
We speak about women in politics in Bermuda, and yes, there are challenges where there probably aren't as many as there should be, but Bermuda has a great history of women leaders in the top position. Dame Pamela Gordon, Dame Jennifer Smith, and Paula Cox. But whether you like them or not, these are things to celebrate. And so when I think of Cot Match, how many people that actually cheer for Somerset and St. George's actually know who a Clarence Parfitt is, right?
Yeah.
Kelvin Bummy Simons. Like, these are the kind of things that we need to ensure that we're
absolutely.
Yeah?
Absolutely. And one of the things that I'm not sure if they do this in Somerset because I don't ever really go to the club, Somerset Good Club, but in St. George's, they have the names of the captains on the wall. So you can look at it from decades ago all the way up until Anais Bascom this year. And for me, I love that because that's the history. Because let's be real, sometimes the message gets lost in Cot Match. Sometimes it just turns into a big party with drinks. But it's very important for me, for my children, to know what it is, to know the history. This is why we do this. And like Leanna Hall did a Twitter thread, I want to say it was on Wednesday, about the significance of Cot Match and how Black people, cold and sick for 111 years before it was called an actual holiday. Like, that's what our people did. And that's why we are celebrating emancipation, because our people said, enough. We are not working. We are celebrating who we are and the fact that we are free. And if we don't teach the younger generations, they don't know. The message is lost.
Yeah, you said a lot, and I concur with all of it. David, Michael R. Wilson, Mikaela.
By teaching the young and keeping traditions, no matter how small, alive, encourage the learning of one's ancestors, discover more about our island, etc. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Terry Too Cool says we can support local events out in the Department of Culture and the Bermuda National Library. I guess, just to be clear, folks, when I say what can we do, the way my mind works, I'm always thinking about things outside of government. Outside of the classroom, because I think too much of an emphasis is put on like what is the government doing, or like teaching it in schools. And I think the same way Bermudians take pride in speaking to non-Bermudians over Cot Match about their culture and the history and so on, I'm really speaking about how can we instill in one another, not necessarily organization like the government, but how can we do it? How can Mikaela and I daily keep the energy alive? Like, if I had a former co-host and I said that, Mikaela, actually, I didn't realize she thought the same as me. We're two people that don't believe in celebrating Black History Month as Bermudians. I'm just not a fan of it, right? And so when Black History Month came, people were like, "Oh, you doing that?" And I'm like, "It's Black History Month every day on this show." What do you mean? I said, "Well, if you listen to the trivia questions, they always reflect some form of Black history, some Bermuda, some international." And my former co-host was like, "Wow, I never even checked that." And I'm like, some things are subliminal. The point is we've taken it upon ourselves with this show to kind of install, put that energy inside you to make sure that you're learning something that reflects Afrocentric culture and history without you even knowing. Now obviously I'm telling you, but those are the kind of things I mean. Without government, what can we do? Carla, Taylor.
Bermuda is seen by other islands as stush, and I used to hate it, but now I love it. I have pride in our stushness as it has become part of our identity and national pride. Listen, I just had this conversation. I feel like Bermudians are relaxing a bit. I feel like within the past 10 years or so, Bermudians have kind of relaxed, but I'm not mad at the stushness either.
All right, what they say, you go, girl. Kathy Brumby says, "I do think that Jamaica will celebrate women too after gold, silver, bronze in this year's Olympics." Well, you know what? Before we move on, a big, huge congratulations to the Jamaicans. I think Ian Thompson Hara, Shelly Ann Fraser Price, and their place was Sharika. I forget her last name.
I can't remember the last name.
Clean sweep. Phenomenal. Exceptional performance against the wind. So big props to them. It's lovely to see small countries, islands dominate in particular events in the Olympics. But they definitely deserve more than just a vacation stay at a hotel in Jamaica.
Hello.
Terry Tuku, Mikaela.
Their events are not traditional events. I went to a yoga event at the library on Bermudian rosters. Oh, that's interesting.
Nice. Love to hear it. Look, I'll say this much. I love when Bermudians share pride. I love Bermudians that share stories. It's nothing like a Bermudian telling the story of Bermudian. I remember one of my biggest challenges when I worked in tourism was the fact that we had, and I'll just be honest, white non-Bermudians telling our stories. It was a challenge for me. We should always be telling our own stories. It's Bermuda, whether we like it or not, is a majority Black country. Why we are so afraid to put Black Bermudians at the front to make sure that we're selling it and people are buying into it. We're a proud people and culture. And I think that, we need to feel confident telling our stories, who we are, how we got where we are. There's no shame in any part of the story. None of it.
No, I agree with you. And that used to be a major point of contention for me for a very long time. I mean, you have traditionally in Bermuda, and I feel like it's changed a little bit, but the media landscape for a very long time was white British people. And I'm like, how can you tell the stories of Bermudians when you're not, you don't get it, right? So I feel like it's changed. I haven't been a reporter in over 7 years now, but I see that the landscape has shifted a bit, and I think that's for the better, to be honest, because you need our people telling our stories.
Yeah. Well, I think even awesome, and Mikaela makes this hard for you all, but when we do the daily play on this show, she gets it right pretty fast, so doesn't give you all a chance, which is a good thing, because knowing who we are and about us, like there were times, I would ask the daily play and no one would know the answer, which was interesting because a lot of it we should know. I've learned from doing the daily play because I have to research and do a lot of stuff. When did unions start? The important role of certain Black teachers. We know what the media has shared with us, but what about those stories we don't know? You just mentioned Leanna Hall, right? How many people know that her father, the late Julian Hall, was probably one of the most brilliant lawyers of our time? What is his story politically? What did he change with Bermuda? Do young people know this? We have a lot to celebrate, and I think that the more we speak about our stories, the more we can highlight it. Sherilyn Russell, Mikaela.
We can highlight one cricket player each year with their history that played from 1902 and show their families. Now and then, stories are awesome. This could be implemented in schools, Bermuda history. I feel like absolutely, but also in the lead up to Cup Match, you know, maybe the 30 days before, you highlight the 30 best players over the history of the game, you know, something along those lines, because it's very important. Like, for instance, when I started being a reporter and I was told stories about Randy Horton, I'm looking at Randy Horton, who was an MP at the time, and I'm like, this man was like a legend. Oh, okay. And then I took the time out to research and learn about him. And then I had this whole newfound respect for him, because obviously when I started as a reporter when I was 19, I'm 35 now. So he had been out of sports for decades at that point. But it's just a matter of educating people. And that's why I love that tweet thread that Liana put up, because a lot of people probably didn't know that.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people didn't understand the fact that our people created Cup Match and decided we weren't going to work. We weren't going to work for 100+ years. A lot of people, I feel, if you don't know the history and you don't take the time, because they don't teach that in schools. They don't, you know? So it's a matter of us deciding, you know what, I want to know these things. I want to know about my people. I want to know about my culture so that I can wave my literal or whatever flag high, you know?
Yeah, indeed. No, I love to hear it. Honestly, love to hear it. Karen Edwards Simmons says, when we celebrate our Bermudian history, if we negate our connections with our Caribbean connections, which run deep. I want to touch on that because there was a lot of chatter on Twitter this weekend about Caribbean. Like, I started last week with the gold medalist medal win by Flora Duffy and Caribbean claiming us and so on. Folks, geographically, we may not be in the Caribbean, but we are African Caribbean people. Like, that's who we are. Like, at the end of the day, again, you know, going back to being stush, like they are us, we are them.
Yeah. I just had this. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Kels.
No, I was just having this conversation the other day, and I just feel like it's crazy because when I think back to my childhood, and like even when I left Bermuda, and people are like, oh, you're from the Caribbean. I'm not from the Caribbean. I'm not from the Caribbean. But then when you think back, who was the government for all those years pushing us to be separate?
Yeah.
Who was the government who was like, we're not Caribbean. We're not a part of those people. You know what I mean? So it's like when you decide to stop and think about that, because it wasn't in their best interests for the Black people to be linked. They wanted us to be separate. You know? And so when you actually think about it, how many of our families came directly from the Caribbean? The majority of us.
Yeah, it's insane to me. And that's a deep conversation where I can say a lot. I'll just say Chris Famous, MP Chris Famous actually spoke about this during the motion to adjourn, probably within the last 2 years. And he spoke very passionately about how that government you mentioned had always made Black Bermudians believe that we were better than you know, the Africans in the Caribbean. And yet that whole time they were making Black Bermudians think they were better than the Africans in the Caribbean. They were down there starting businesses, which you see today from Bermuda down there. I don't have to say names, but if you know, you know. And I was thankful for MP Famous for saying that, because it wasn't, I mean, our co-host Larry Marshall Jr. was the one that really brought it to my attention when I was in college. And he was like, no, they are one of us. Like, we're not going to do that. And we are one of them. And so this goes back to the conversation about Bermudian pride and energy year round. Like, it's like, if we understood who we were, we wouldn't even be thinking like this. We are, you know, our roots via Africa come through there. You know, that's just who we are. But unless we're taught and we're having these conversations, then, you know, we're going to think we're better than our brothers and sisters in the and we are them and they are us.
And this is the thing that frustrates me. So my great grandmother on the Pearman side, so my papa's mother, She was from an island, which a lot of people don't know, called Saba. Small island, close to Saba, and you can catch them. They're very small. It's like 7 or 8 miles. Her and her sister, can't remember her sister's name, they were Hassels, came to Bermuda. She married a Pyramid. Her sister married a Levrock. These were Indian women from Saba. So when, and I guarantee you that the majority of at least Black Bermudians have a similar story from another island. So when we sit here and we're like, oh, we're not Caribbean, stop.
I was gonna crack a joke with you, but you beat me to it. I was gonna say, let me guess, the last name was Hassel, because the people I know from Saba, the last name is Hassel.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I mean, it was very important. My Nana always made sure I knew the things, because my papa didn't really talk about these things. My Nana and my mom made sure I knew that my great grandmother came from Saba, you know? And so it's just like, and this is why I appreciate MP Famous, because he's always talking about it. Always talking about it. And so I just feel like if you're a Black Bermudian and you're sitting here trying to say, oh, we're not really Caribbean, go look to your great grandma, go look to your grandpa. Somebody somewhere closer than you think came from. So
Let's
stop.
Comments. Rosalind Famous, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Rosalind Famous saying educating could be just as easy as conversations around the dinner table. That's what I learned, where I learned most Bermudian history. That's what I'm talking about. This is where I'm saying, like, take it out of the government's hands. This is where I'm saying, take it out of like these different organizations and these tours that people you have to pay. You know what I'm saying? But these are conversations that should be had amongst us. You know, we should be able to call a friend and learn from our friends, and so
yes,
even if it's not around your dinner table. Like, these are the conversations we should be having, not just about, oh, where we going party or drink this weekend. Michelle White Mikaela.
Bermuda prides ourselves on being an all-around destination, yet we tend to hold events during summer, keep stories going all year round, especially leading up to significant dates in our history. Our stories should be told and celebrated all year round. I don't know our history and learned a lot this past weekend. Yes, because we have to always be in a position where we are willing to learn, where we are willing to be educated.
Yeah.
But I agree with you about the summer thing. That always ends up being a thing, right?
Well, at the end of the day, that's a whole conversation, but I agree. I'll just say I agree. Craig Levy says Africans, absolutely, Craig, and that's why I keep saying African Caribbean. Terry Too Cool says, I used to catch so much flack for saying Bermudian was Caribbean. Yes, Terry, like, people, we were not allowed to be linked. Like, it was almost like we were taught like it was this evil to even appreciate. To appreciate, folks. You know, I'm new to this thing. Forgive me. It was like it was this evil. We were taught that it was this bad thing, and I'm just so happy that we've come some way. It seems. Tamara Richardson, Mikaela.
Rosin Famous, sadly, I've learned very few dinner tables operate like this, or less and less. I'm grateful, as that's been the best form of education for generations in my family as well. No, I agree. And this is why it's so important to have the conversations. Like, my great aunt, Phyllis, she left Bermuda when she went to Howard for university when she was 18, and she's lived abroad all these years. However, she has always maintained her connections. To this day, she's telling me the stories. She's watching Cup Match live and WhatsApping me the whole time and telling me the stories of, she remembers when her father secured the property for St. George's. She remembers all the things that happened when she lived here and all the memories of St. George's. And so I take it all in, because she's in her late 70s. She's not going to be here forever, but it's important for me to know the stories and then to tell my children those stories.
Indeed. Renee Charlene Simmons Kills.
That's just it, Mikaela. For centuries, we weren't thought of as being associated with the Caribbean, but the whole of the Caribbean is where our ancestors came from. Yep.
Well, no, our ancestors came from Africa, but via.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
That's where they stopped, and then they came up.
Akina Magan says, so leave the people alone and win a carnival. It is part of our ancestry. Yeah, and we had noise complaints this weekend, too.
One weekend in a year and a half, and noise complaints. Lord.
How many families have the ability to be all together at the dinner table to even have to? Well, Terry, without going into detail, that's exactly why I said even through conversations through friends, because not everyone has that opportunity. So you're right. Not every family has a dinner table, But that's why I'm saying even other relationships. What I'm simply saying is take it out of the hands of the government. We have to take control of our education. This, I've spoken for years that formal education, while great, isn't the greatest form for most Black people. You're going to learn more by doing your own research, by doing your own. My whole point is it's not just within your family. What can you learn from the people you surround yourself with? It's a quote that I read recently is, your friends should consist of certain kinds of people. Throw them in that bubble as well. So I agree with you. Sandra Williams, Mikaela.
We as Black people actually denied our connections with the Caribbean. We felt we were better. I will never forget how we treated the Jamaicans. We had brilliant teachers that were from the Caribbean. We still turned up our noses. We can't blame government for everything. I will blame the government of the day for creating that narrative because they created that narrative. I will say that. But
yeah, it was. I mean, again, it was a narrative that was pushed, and the people bought into it. Remember, we didn't have the internet and social media back then, so what we were fed was given to us by those who controlled the narratives.
Exactly, and I mean, you have up until recently where the tourism BTA has said that the gumbe beat comes from England.
Oh, yes, let's not. Oh boy.
So I mean, when in reality, come on.
Yeah. Karen Edward Simmons, conversations are a start and should be continued, but also go to places where you are connected. Try to research your ancestors and possibly meet relatives from Africa and the islands. I'll tell you this, one of the great opportunities I had was going to the, what's the museum up Dockyard? Used to be called Maritime Museum.
Royal Bermuda Museum? No?
You know what I'm talking about. Commissioner's House up there, right?
Yes. I don't remember what it's called.
The bugs. But up there, I learned so much. I learned so much. I've learned a lot by going to the African American Museum in DC. But Bermuda's version up there in Dockyard, I don't know if you've been, folks, but I would encourage you to go up there. You would be shocked. And so Bermuda National Museum, how did I not know that? But thank you, Rosalind Famous. Bermuda National Museum. That was huge. For me during tourism, it made me proud to go there and show people that information. It was really good. Terry Too Cool, Mikaela.
Reading, I'm going to say this wrong, Paulu's story taught me that looking down on other Caribbean was a thing. I was floored. Oh, yes, it's always been a thing. I mean, you have the negative terms like yardie and jump up, which no one should say.
Yeah.
Ever.
I didn't even think of the derogatory terms like jump up and so on.
Like, really bad.
It's been a thing. And I am happy that I believe we're past that. I believe we are. I could be wrong. Are we past that now? Like, are we
I feel like we are. I feel like younger generation, definitely. There might be some older people who are still like, oh, I'm not Caribbean. But in my generation, at least, I haven't heard anyone use either of those derogatory terms in a very long time, and I hope to never hear them again.
Yeah, indeed. Well, look, Mikaela, let's take a break. We have the daily play. You know how it works, folks. If you guess it before Mikaela, which is pretty hard to do, it's difficult. But if you guess it before Mikaela, you get a prize. All right. Also, we're gonna have, I think, Minister Renee Ming coming up this week, so make sure you set your dial for that. And got some interesting conversations. Stick with us, don't go anywhere. Gonna play a quick commercial and we will be back after this.
I have my three children, a 27-year-old and a 11-year-old and a 5-year-old. I have to balance it out. I actually even stopped working Monday to Wednesday just so that I can put in time for the products and I put in time for my family, because for me, my family comes first over anything. You know I have to run my business so that we can eat and everything, but my children come first. I let them even play a role when I'm making my products. Come on, get up. You can come help me mix it. Come help me put the label on it. So when we talk about inspiring your daughter or your children, I make my children get up there and see what it takes to run a business. Come on, Surrey. This brand, Surrey Shea & Co., is named after you. So You need to help me. You're gonna come, you can do this, put the labels on for me. You can do it. Even my little 4-year-old, I had him do it. Mommy, let me help. So I just let them help, and it teaches them the way.
All right, welcome back to the big show. She's Mikaela and I'm Jamel Hartman. Thanks again to One Communications, Lindo's Medical House, Bermuda Economic Development Corporation, and our friends over at Channel 82, where you can stream this and many other locally produced shows. Thanks again to the audience. If you enjoyed today's conversation, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. If you're tuned in on social media, don't forget to download the BCG Radio app as well. Listen, it's Reggae Monday, so all day, all reggae today. And it's time to stump Mikaela. I mean, it's time for the Daily Play. All right. So you know how this works. You get it before Mikaela, and you win a little something. So the Daily Play brought to you by Heineken 0.0. Great taste, no alcohol. Mikaela, are you ready?
Already.
All right. Who said this? Quote,
gosh.
Don't gain the world and lose your soul. Wisdom is better than silver or gold. End quote.
I feel like that's one of those quotes that everybody has said.
Okay.
Muhammad Ali? Yeah, I don't know.
Wow, someone got it. Karen Edwards Simmons, you are the winner.
That sounds about right, actually.
Alan Lugo in it as well. Yes, Bob Marley.
As soon as that came up, I was like, well, duh, right.
Quote, don't gain the world and lose your soul. Wisdom is better than silver or gold. That was Bob Marley, the late Bob Marley, great legendary reggae singer. What are your thoughts on today's show about, pride and history, Mikaela?
I just think it's so important. Like, it's so important for us to know our struggles. It's so important for us to know the people who came ahead of us and cleared the way for us. The women who've worked hard, the men, like I said, 100 years of Black people refusing to work to celebrate our emancipation. Like, they did that so that we could be free, and it's just so important for us to have these conversations, to tell these stories, to tell our children, our grandchildren, and so forth, so that they know, and then the story continues.
Indeed. I agree. I think it's time that we take some of the most important aspects of our lives out of the hands of others. For what it's worth, governments are there to set rules and policies that give us all a fair chance to succeed in whatever it is that we are interested in. Governments don't get it right, in my opinion, most of the time. That's why we do our part to hold them accountable. Craig Luby asked an interesting question. Are we really free? No, we're far from it.
Wow.
As Black people, we are. It can be argued that there's progress, but even that is challenging. What I will say is that we must not rest on our laurels, and in order to continue making headway, we need to continue to do our job to educate, but not only to educate, but to receive education, because no matter where we are, how much we know, we will never know it all.
Yeah.
You'll never know it all. So I've enjoyed the conversation. Like I said, if you've enjoyed this conversation, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Kales, you got some inspiration for us?
I sure do. I have lots of daily inspiration, considering last week we forgot it.
Yeah. Last week we were in cup match mode, folks,
All right. This was what we were supposed to talk about last Wednesday. All right. This is a good one. Mindset separates the best from the rest.
Oh, I love that one. Mindset.
Mindset is everything.
You going to do the other two as well, or just that one?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to hold on to them.
Okay, all right. Well, I love that one. Before we go, Cherie Dill says, great show today. A lot of food for thought. Let's keep the stories going. We need to share them so we don't repeat the same mistakes of the past. On that note, thank you. Thanks again to our partners, Medical House, One Communications, and Lindo's, for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. She's Mikaela Ian. I'm Jamel Hartman. My friends, I don't have my daily hour mug today, but please do make it a great day.
Deuces.